Ford High School Weekly is brought to you by your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Oklahoma. And by Rib Crib, smoking good stuff since '92.
Welcome to Ford High School Weekly. I'm your host, Deion. On this week's episode, we have a special guest for you guys. I'm talking with Ethan Rolen, the guy who's the man over there for the Greater Tulsa Officials Association, Mr. President himself. How's it going, Ethan?
Good, Deion. How are you today?
Not too bad, not too bad. So first, before we get into everything, what is the Greater Tulsa Officials Association?
So the Greater Tulsa Officials Association is we focus on football. We're the football officiating arm for Northeast Oklahoma. Basically, we serve 74 different schools around the area. And basically, we contract with schools to supply them with football officials every Friday night, from scrimmages all the way through the regular season. And then when the playoffs start, the OSSAA takes over the assignment process. But during the season, the GTOA is in charge of making sure schools have officials to cover their games.
Well, we appreciate you bringing those officials over, because without you guys, we couldn't play the game that we love. Sure,
it's fun. It's a challenge, but it's a lot of fun, and it's good work. We have a good time with it.
I imagine so. We'll get into a little bit about that, but before we get into like the hard-hitting questions about officiating and everything you guys do over there, I want to kind of get some background information about you. So tell me a little bit about how you grew up and how you got your love for sports.
Yeah, so I grew up in Texas, small town Texas, back in the 80s, and I played high school football just like a lot of different guys did. I was not good enough or talented enough to go to the next level. But the love of football, the desire to be involved with football never left me. It never changed. And then as I got older, I figured out, I moved to Oklahoma, got married, and moved up here to Tulsa. And when we got here to Tulsa, I said, you know what? I think I can still be involved in football. I'm not a coach, I'm not a player, but I can officiate. I've always been interested in the rules and the things behind the scenes look of football. So I started looking for how to get involved with officiating. Basically, I had a friend that I knew did some officiating, and I just called him out of the blue and said, hey, how can I get started and where do I begin? And that was back in the year 2000. And I've been actively officiating for 21 years now. And it just gets better and better. And I've done small college, I've done Division II college, I've done high school, I've done many different levels. I've done third graders all the way up through, like I said, college kids. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but man, if you have a passion for football and want to stay involved, but you can't play it or coach it, this is a great way to do it.
All right, let's go back a little bit. You said you played the game. What position were you at when you were growing up?
Well, I was a wide receiver and strong safety. Played both ways most of the time. I played, like I said, at small school, so we had to go both ways a lot because we just didn't have enough guys. So I played strong safety and tight end, wide receiver a lot. My earliest memories, really, I had two older brothers that also played football, and my earliest memories as a child were going to the game on Friday night and watching my big brothers play football.
When we come back, we'll talk about more about what it takes to be an official for the Greater Tulsa Officials Association here on Ford High School Weekly.
Billy Sims BBQ. It's not just barbecue, it's Boomer Q.
Our Billy Sims BBQ running back of the week is Broken Arrow's Marion Horn. The Texas Tech commit carried the ball 31 times for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. He averaged 5.5 yards a carry as the Tigers knocked off Owasso 41-40 in the first round of the 6A1 playoffs. Marion Horn is the Billy Sims BBQ running back of the week. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. I'm talking with the man who you need to know if you want to become an official, Ethan Rolen. Ethan, now I phrase that and I say that because there's so many people that are interested and wanting to be a part of the game, and you kind of have the instructions on how you get that done. So if people want to become an official after they listen to you and have seen all the things that take place on Friday nights, how do they get that done?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Deion, because we need officials. We need guys and gals who are interested and ready to officiate. You know, it used to be a guys only thing, but now there's women in the NFL, there's women at Division I college, there's women who are doing high school football. So we need people to help us. So the best way to get involved with that is go to Greater Tulsa Officials, TulsaOfficials.com. TulsaOfficials.com is our website. On that website, you can find my contact information. You can find my email, phone number, anything like that. And I'm happy to help you get involved. The best time to do that, here's some of them, because a lot of people think around, August, September, they think, oh, it might be fun to officiate. Well, that's not the time to get started. The time to get started in officiating is probably about February. Football officiating is probably about February. If you reach out to us around that time frame, February, March time frame, that's about when we start our training for the next season. We have a clinic in May that you really, if you're going to get involved, you really need to go to. It's a huge officiating clinic. We have NFL guys come down and teach us. We have college guys come in and teach us. We have coaches come in and talk to us. We have state representatives, all over, officiating representatives come in and discuss things with us. We get out on the field. We work some of the spring scrimmages. And that's kind of our introduction to it. And then we start our meetings in July for officiating. And we have 8 local meetings. You have to attend 4 of them. If you're a new official, we prefer you to come as many as you possibly can. But we have 8 local meetings you come to. That's part of training, part of getting involved. Then we have a state meeting. We help you through the rules test, get you involved. And once you're all signed up and everything's ready to go, everything is good. We have a special going, and I hate to say that because I'm not a salesman, but if you come in the first year and you officiate that first year, when you come back your second year, we'll pay for your dues. When you return for year 2, we'll pay for your dues. We'll pay for you to get started. You'll have to buy your own uniforms and stuff like that. But we'll pay your dues in your second year as an official because we need people to help, and we're desperate. This last week 10 of this season, we barely had enough officials to get through the week, and so we need people to help.
So I know you said you're not a salesman, but for the people who are on the fence about if they want to decide to do this or be a part of this, why should they become an official?
That's an easy question for me to answer. If you're passionate about the game, if you love the game of football, if you want to be around the game again after maybe you've played high school ball or you've played college ball, it's just not out of your system yet. They're just still part of you. You can still get that feeling. You can still get that camaraderie. Yeah, you're not going to get the contact and you're not going to be a football player or a coach. But what you are going to be is you're going to be there. You're going to be on the field on Friday nights. You're going to be part of the lights, part of the national anthem that puts chills down your back, even when you're not playing the game. You're going to meet your best friends in the world, because when you're in a Union High School stadium and there's 10,000 people there, there's 2 teams and there's 5 of you. Nobody's there for you. The only 5 guys on that field that your families may be there, but we're all we've got. And it's almost, you hate comparing football to battle because it's so completely different. But at the same time, it's almost like going to battle with your guys and hanging in there and doing what's right and supporting each other through the hard times and enjoying the good times together. There's nothing like you getting a call from the state says, hey, you guys have been assigned a state championship. And it's something you've worked for years and years and years. There's nothing like that moment of celebration that you can have with your buddies and then go out and work. So it's all those same types of feelings, those same types of moments. It's just now you have to keep your emotions under control a lot more.
Man, you said you're not a salesman, but you're almost making me want to go put on the white and black and root on.
Come on, we'll take you. I guarantee you, we'll put you to work.
I would love to, man. Maybe I should come to a couple of those clinics and really see what you guys have to put up with.
Love to have you. Absolutely. Yes.
Well, Ethan, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It was a pleasure having you, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Great. Thank you very much. It was a great time.
Playoff time is nighttime. Michael Knight's coming up next on Ford High School Weekly. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. And okay, guys, I know you've been asking all show long. It's that time once again. My man Michael Knight from Prep Red Zone is here to break down some of the matchups we'll be seeing this weekend in the playoff action. Michael, how's it going?
It's going good, man. The playoffs started last week. We had some upsets in some of the classes, so it's good. It's good now that we're in November. Playoff football is here. Nothing like it.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, so let's go ahead and start off with the 6A1 bracket and everything that's going on over there. I know Jinx got a chance to handle Norman North pretty handily, as much of us expected, 41-14. But the surprise, I think, that a lot of people didn't really take account for was on the other side, Mustang taking down Edmond Santa Fe in impressive fashion, 37-17. So those two teams going against each other this week. What do you think of it?
I mean, Jinx definitely has the edge. If you've been following along this show all season, I've been very high on Jinx as the top team in 6A1. So Mustang, them getting that win the way they did certainly stood out to me. Going into the matchup, I thought that Mustang and Edmond Santa Fe were very evenly matched, but for Mustang to come in and absolutely dominate, and consider the fact that they were upset by Moore in week 10, and so they're coming into the playoffs off of a loss, and to bounce back the way they did with a blowout victory over, 20-point win, a sizable victory over a team that made it to the state championship game a year ago in Edmond Santa Fe. Very impressive win by Mustang. But then again, you fast forward to this week, and you got the defending champs in the Jinx Trojans, and they're clicking on all cylinders. So while last week was impressive for Mustang, this week is a completely new challenge and arguably the toughest of their season.
All right, well, now let's go to the other side of that bracket. Broken Arrow being able to take that thing, coming down to almost the final seconds with a score of 41-40. And then on the top of that, Union does a good job of, making a first-round impressive victory over UConn, 59-24. So Union versus Broken Arrow, a matchup that they're pretty familiar with down there. What do you think of it?
I mean, historically, Union has dominated that series, and, they beat Broken Arrow in the playoffs last year. And Broken Arrow has only beaten Union. They've met over 10 times in the playoffs, and Broken Arrow has only won once in those playoff meetings. But as we learned last week, history means absolutely nothing. Owasso beat Broken Arrow 42-3 in week 2, and they just lost to the Tigers. So impressive win by Broken Arrow last week against Owasso. Josh Blankenship, their head coach, getting one over on the old man, Bill Blankenship. So it's now 1-1 in that series. But, I think that they did an excellent job. The game plan was outstanding. And so while Union beat Broken Arrow in the regular season back in week 1, we can't take too much away from that matchup because both teams are really different. From the two that faced off in September. Both have different quarterbacks playing. So out of the two semifinals in 6A1, definitely more intrigued by the Broken Arrow Union one. I think it's going to be pretty close.
Let's go ahead and make our way to 6A2. Del City losing in an upset to Sand Springs, 21-17. I don't think anybody saw this one coming. What do you think?
I mean, nobody saw either of those quarterfinals coming on that side of the bracket. That semifinal, Deer Creek versus Sand Springs, is the one that nobody expected. One of those teams is going to play for a state championship, and I can guarantee you that outside of those programs, nobody was saying that back in August. Sand Springs going on the road and beating Del City the way they did, absolutely impressive job. I like what head coach Bobby Klink has done with that program. He has it going in the right direction that he wants. Ty Pennington, their senior quarterback, he's about as flawless as it gets at the quarterback position. I'm a little more surprised that Deer Creek was able to go on the road and beat Choctaw. Everybody just kind of penciled in Choctaw for the state championship game for a rematch with Bixby this year. And Deer Creek had other plans. So it's crazy to think that Sand Springs, which was a 4 seed coming into the playoffs, or Deer Creek, which had never won a playoff game since being in 6A2 until last week. One of those two teams is going to play for a state championship.
Any given Friday, somebody can take an L, and exactly, Deer Creek showed us that this last week. Let's see who can show it this week. Let's move on in that bracket. Let's go ahead and talk about one of the things that weren't a surprise, and then we'll mention the big surprise that a lot of people didn't see coming. First of all, the no surprise here, Bixby takes down Putnam City North 78-7. Your thoughts?
I mean, you had to say the final score. I mean, come on, we knew Bixby was going to win coming in, but man, look, Braylon Presley took the opening kickback for a touchdown, and it was, it was over at that point. I mean, he, 10 seconds into the game, he's already standing in the end zone, and it's the first of a couple for him, and they end up putting up 78. So we've been saying it, how dominant this team has been all season, and, first round of the playoffs, they flexed their muscles for sure.
Bigger surprise, Deer Creek getting the win over Choctaw or Stillwater getting the win over Booker T?
Oh, in my opinion, it's Deer Creek, without a doubt. I think that Stillwater, it didn't surprise me as much just because of the way they finished the regular season. I think that they were playing really good football. So I actually went into that matchup thinking it was one of the best games of the first round. I thought it was pretty evenly matched. But Deer Creek going on the road to beat Choctaw, we haven't, the Antlers, they've just kind of been an underrated, kind of overlooked team in 6A2 because of all the discussion around, the Bixbys, the Choctaws, Stillwater, Del City, Booker T, all that. And then slowly but surely, Deer Creek has been playing with all of those guys. They went to double overtime with Stillwater in the regular season. They played extremely well against Del City in the regular season. I think that game went to overtime as well. So the Antlers have been playing really good football. They went into the game against Choctaw expecting to win, and they came out with it.
Well, Mr. Knight, before you get out of here, where can the people find you?
Check us out on prepredzone.com. Coming up this weekend with the semifinal games in 6A1 and 6A2. Once they come to a close, we'll have our first looks at the 6A1 championship, 6A2 championship as well. And that's going to kick off a big series of championship preview content. And then, of course, we're going to have it for 5A, 4A, 3A, and then the following week with 2A and A. So as we get further on into the playoffs, we're going to have a ton of content every single day on prepredzone.com/Oklahoma. And as always, you can use that coupon code to save yourself 25% off a subscription. Just enter KNIGHT25, that's KNIGHT 25, and that'll save you 25% off your subscription. And we appreciate you for checking us out.
Well, thank you, Michael. We'll check in with you next week. But when we come back, we got more here on Ford High School Week. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. The 6A1 playoffs kicked off with the Blankenship Bowl 2, as some have called it. It was a close and competitive matchup. The Owasso Rams took on the Broken Arrow Tigers at Tiger Field in Broken Arrow. This would be the second meeting between Owasso coach Bill Blankenship and his son, Tigers coach Josh Blankenship. BA struck first with their quarterback, Sterling Ramsey, went 79 yards to put BA up 7-0 just a couple of minutes into the game. BA was aggressive from the start. Caleb Young kicked an onside kick and recovered it. After a fake punt, the Tigers would score on a 5-yard Marion Horn TD run. BA leads 14-0. In the second quarter, Rams quarterback Mason Willingham makes a nice throw to Ronnie Thomas that goes for 39 yards to the Broken Arrow 3. Derek Overstreet would take it in from there, 3 yards, and Owasso was on the board 14-7. Now in the third quarter, Willingham again to Cole Adams. That goes for a 42-yard touchdown. That put the game in a tie, 14-all, less than 2 minutes into the quarter. Willingham passes again, this one a 4-yard touchdown pass to Ronnie Thomas. Owasso leads 21-14. But BA would fight back. Here's Griffin Stieber powering in from the 1 to tie it 21-all. On the kickoff, watch Owasso's Cole Adams. He's going to go 78 yards. Owasso's 2-point attempt failed, and the lead was 27-21. Early in the fourth quarter, Deshaun Kennard scores on a 3-yard running attempt, up the Owasso lead 33-21 after another 2-point fail. Then, BA came back to score on a 6-yard pass from Sterling Ramsey to Griffin Stieber that made it 33-28. But kicking off to Cole Adams can be dangerous, and it certainly was on this night. This time he went 90 yards for the score. Owasso was up 40-28 with 9:34 left in the game. But BA was not finished. Marion Horn capped a Tiger drive with a 6-yard run to pull the Tigers within 5, making it 40-35. Now check out Broken Arrow's Makai Hanley. Unblocked, he knocks the ball loose from Mason Willingham. Jadean Floyd Wright scoops it up and goes 35 yards to the Owasso 19. That led to a 5-yard touchdown pass from Sterling Ramsey to Joshua Wilhite for 1-point lead for the Tigers. Owasso intercepted BA's 2-point attempt, but the Tigers shut Owasso down from there to win the game 41-40. It was a great moment for Josh Blankenship and maybe even a greater one for father and son, as the Broken Arrow Tigers survive and advance.
Tons of adversity back and forth. They never stopped fighting. They never stopped believing, and we get to play another week. It's pretty cool.
That's right. You have to take it a week at a time if you want that gold ball. Remember, all the best in Oklahoma, like Ethan Rolen, make it to Ford High School Weekly. So happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for watching. I'm Deion Amade.
Ford High School Weekly has been brought to you by your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Oklahoma. And by Rib Crib, smoking good stuff since '92.